So the last chorus has got that little lift up to it.
Yeah.
So when you talk about compositions, as a guitar soloist, I like to have that key mod happen right around when the solo starts.
Right.
Because then you get the bonus of the band giving you a mod, and you come in, oh, this guitar player's great. If you come in just when everything's in the same key as the previous chorus or whatever you're coming out of,
Yeah.
like, cool. But like if you come in when you get the lift and you do something clever at the beginning of the solo, you know, Bob's your uncle at that point. So it's really, in Japanese music, there's so many more possibilities because they're allowing for more chords to happen. Does that make sense?
I have a question.
And why, though?
What does Bob's your uncle mean?
What?
I don't understand it either, but yeah, he said that, and I think that means it like it's like how to use it. When you get the lift from the band, Bob's your uncle. It's like I don't know why it means it, but it means like that's exactly what you need to happen, or that's the right thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I don't know where
falls
the
into
thing
place.
comes from.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd thing to use. And I imagine he doesn't say that a lot in like Japan.
Metal Auditor says, I think Bob's your uncle is a British thing.
Bob's your uncle.
Oh, express the ease with which a task can be achieved. Okay.
Yeah, but why does Bob's your uncle mean that?
Yeah, well, Rick Beato's about to ask Marty Freeman, but why does
Yeah, he
Japanese
does.
music use these chords?
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you
Why
guys
is-
right now, because we did cut off this part of the...
Oh,
Ryan went robot mode. Jesus.
We got Happy Ryan now.
Look at, oh my God, take a picture. Holy shit. Let me get a picture. Got it. Oh my God, we got a Happy Ryan now.
Rare.
I
Rare
got a
footage.
picture. I was wondering when we'd ever get a happy photo of Ryan for thumbnails. Now we got it.
And someone's mentioned, I've heard it in the U.S. before, but not in pop music, you know? Like,
Ryan.
it's in pop music in Japan, where as in the U.S., pop music is the same progression, like, every time.
oh.
Oh, Ryan's back. Oh, there's a sad face. There it is.
I mean, that's probably true to, you know, for rock music in America beyond like a certain year also. You know, even like my favorite style of music, going back to like the metalcore, you know, like of the early 2000s, you know, the 2000s, 2010 zone, which I really respect a lot of that music. It still kind of breaks down a lot of the time into like a 4-chord progression in those choruses, you know, and I respect that music a lot. But even, you know, rock and metal beyond a certain point, but you're right, like when you go back to the 70s, the 60s and 70s and stuff like that, it wasn't like that. It's even like pop music in like the 60s, for example, like oldies music, 50s, 60s pop music almost never followed that 4-chord progression. There would always be that feeling of a journey going on with that also. I'm not sure exactly when that shift started to happen, but pop music for the last 30 years has been like that in America.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, I've been experimenting with this thing, like when you do a chord progression at the tail end, change up the genre on the last chord. So like this new song we wrote, like I put a death metal riff like just for a split second at the end, and it sounded pretty cool. Like just doing like you do a normal progression, and I get to the final chord progression, and I change it into like either a chug metal riff or like a death metal riff out of nowhere with clean vocals. I was like, it is
That's
kind of
awesome. That's cool though.
like, and it works out pretty well. And it kind of reminded me of like what he's talking about with the chords and changing at the end, because that's literally what they're doing. Because when he's going down to the end, he does these extra licks. And as you guys know, I was getting ready for a set, and I had to learn all these 70s songs. And yeah, it's so fun to play because you can even improvise and like add stuff. You feel more welcome to do it when you're learning the song for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Anyways, to get back to, let's see what Rick asked why right here. Let's check that out.
In Japanese music, there's so many more possibilities because they're allowing for more chords to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and why, though? Why do you think that they're open to that?
Great question. I think
Because it was this case, even when we hung out back in, 20 some odd years ago, and you'd play me Japanese pop music.
Oh
it
yeah,
had
I remember what I played.
It
you,
had
right?
tons of chord progressions.
Well,
it had major seventh chords, all different types of chords.
Right, and what I played for you was a little bit more advanced even than this.
Yeah.
These are very basic chords. But the funny thing is, like when you have young kids playing in rock bands, in America, we got that kind of thing. We know those things.
Yeah.
But even in the very basic, they got kids playing this chord, right? And they've got these chords. They're your basic chords.
Sure.
You got your those kind of things. They've got basic. This is all page one jazz
explains
stuff.
so
It's not
much.
even jazz. I don't know what you call
It
it.
is jazz. It is kind. It is.
And for me, I always when I learned songs like that, I'm like, oh my god, this is so fascinating. I remember I learned even more recently. There's Stone Temple Pilots song, Interstate Love Song, had like the most interesting chords I've never seen. I didn't even know was in a hard rock song, and he's using all these jazz chords in it. Then like I was like, I didn't even realize it was there.
Chromaticism?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's walking up chromaticism, but they're doing the jazz chords up it, and it was really cool to see.
I want to
seventh
use
chords.
Bandmate as an example for this also, because not only do they use the funky chords a lot of the time, but while they're playing the funky chords, like you'll have Miku playing funky chords, Konami's often, almost always, like 95% of the time, playing something different, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's large chunks of music in the American scene, you know, where the two guitarists are playing something together and then one of them will spawn off and play something different. Again, even my favorite kind of music, that happens very often. While I feel like you listen to something like Bandmade and you've got two guitars doing two wildly different things for almost an entire song, that is very unique to me. You know,
Yeah.
You don't really get it over here.
All right, let's finish this up. Last minute.
Day one stuff,
Day
but
one
like
stuff,
their
yeah.
day one stuff is based on this type of thing, and our day one stuff is more from rock and roll, you know, like Chuck
Yeah.
Berry and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, it's all great.
Yeah.
The best thing is to have all of it and choose what you like.
Right.
But you asked why. The only thing I can think of is they seem to want more data, more going on. Some of the stuff that's pop music right now, what I gave you was this really stupid basic example. It gets crazy and out there.
Like,
He's
that's
right.
like
Inventive chord progressions and quite difficult to understand, but they sound cool and they sound new and fresh. And when you have these busy chord progressions, it allows for more intricate and standing out kind of melodies.
Right.
It allows for different key modulations and more inventive things, and it kind of encourages more inventive key modulations because everybody's heard everything before. I think maybe the Japanese audience for basic pop music would be bored with the same Let It Be chord progression over and over again. And not a lot of that happens. And I think, at least in the cities, like I live
He
in
mentions
Tokyo,
the
but in
Beatles
big
for simple
cities,
pop music.
there's just a lot of action and information coming at you at all angles, and you're just used to that. And in the music, it's similar to that because it mirrors the society, you know what I mean? It's not chill, dude, kind of thing. It's like, really, there's a lot going on, and for those who like a lot going on, it's good, but it might be too busy for some people. But if you look at some idols like
Facts.
Dempa Gumi Inc. or something like that, there is just so much going on to analyze it. It would take you 2 videos to just figure out one of their singles. But it'd be worthwhile to do because there's something very exciting about a lot of great information put together. I mean, if you look at classical music, sometimes it's just absolutely insane
Right.
concepts that are going by so fast. But for the listener, it's pure happiness. So if you can get your happiness out of a very well orchestrated piece of music with a lot of information in it, there might be something of interest in Japanese music.
Dude, bro is
I had to leave that
Let it-
part
can
in
you
there.
let that
Yeah.
can you let that go for like another 30 seconds so you can get Rick's response to that, please?
Okay.
go.
Yeah, because this pissed me off with Rick's response. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Because he just
Back
like,
it up like 5 seconds, dude.
yeah. Watch
Well,
Rick's
well,
response.
Well, wait then. Hold on, because I want to talk about how much I like Marty's, what he just said, and then we'll go over Rick's
okay.
response after that. But I think that he just articulated what I think is the most important part about all of this and why I fell in love with this genre of music in general is and yes, Bandmade was the first one that I noticed it with, but I've grown to realize that a lot of other bands can give me a similar feeling in the sense that they don't get rid of any technicality or creativity in order to make their songs catchy. So they retain the catchiness quality while still being unique and interesting for people to break down and analyze.
Yeah.
And to me, that is everything. That's like, if it sounds good and I can respect it. These are the two things, right? Like there are things that sound good, but it's like, okay, that was really simple. Obviously it sounded good. You played the 4 chords that everybody thinks sounds good. You know what I mean? But in this sense, it's like, some bands will try to be clever and unique and technical, and it just stops sounding good because they're trying to do too much. But these bands, they're so good at doing them both at the same time. That is where inherently I think my favorite part of this exists.
And that's very important. And this is what like Ryan's getting at now with this part. I think that's really important what you just said, Wave, is how they can mesh both of them. Like make sure you do, it's like that idea of getting just interesting enough without I'm sorry, what did you say, Wave?
Oh, it was Champ that said that.
Oh, Champ, sorry. Like you have to be interesting enough, but not too crazy to push everybody away. Like it has to be, you have to balance, you have to have a perfect balance. I think there's some Japanese bands that have it perfectly done, like Bandmade, Baby Metal, you know, even some Maximum Hormone stuff. There's so many projects.
Nemophila.
Hanabiye, Nemophila. Like it still has the remnants of like, you feel like, oh, this feels good, but then it's just weird enough, you know? Hey guys, thank you for watching. The Gaijin guys this year are really trying to up our game in the Japanese music news space. So we really rely on our Patreon supporters and our members over here on YouTube. So thank you so much. So if you guys can help, consider becoming a Patreon supporter or a member. And you also get exclusive group reactions from all of the guys. Stay awesome, everyone. See you in the next one. See you.